It is 6:30 Eastern time here. I'm so excited to be with you live to talk about the good, the bad, and the truth. Now I've just been writing GBT, all about running. And this topic came up last week when I talked about collagen. We were talking about the benefits of collagen, and one of them is recovery from post-workout. And somehow the topic of running came up, and I get a lot of questions about running. And just a little bit of background about me: I was a competitive runner. I used to run track and field. I was a sprinter. I ran the 400, 200, 100, 55 indoor, and then I also coached track and field for about 7 years of my 10 years as a teacher. I coached track and field and cross country. And then after I was coaching, I was working with running athletes, like adults mainly. I'm helping them with their nutrition and their training regimens. So I have a love for running because I was a runner, and I also have a passion for helping people improve their running performance. And so this topic is very near and dear to my heart. But a lot of the questions that I get are about, do I need to run for weight loss? Is running good for my weight loss goals? Or if I want to just overall like lean out my body, like how much should I be running? Do I need to run? And I'm going to go over all of that tonight because, as you guys know, if you've been listening to me talk, not only am I about food freedom, but I'm also about fitness freedom. I truly want people to do the exercise that they enjoy, okay? And so many of us enjoy running, and some of us are watching this video right now and you're like, oh, I hate running. I hope to God she doesn't say that I have to run to lose weight or reach my goals. And I'm not going to be telling you that because nobody needs to run, but I will give you the good things about running, the not so great things about running, and then the truth, okay? So that's why I titled this series The Good, the Bad, and the Truth. And as I always say, I'm going to give it to you straight, okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I know there's a lot of conflicting information out there, and that's why I like to deliver the truth. The truth is not biased. The truth is based on fact. Okay, and especially when it comes to running, this is my especially area of expertise. Sports nutrition is my expertise, and in Create My Weight, we have expertise in so many areas of the health and weight loss space. We do have a registered dietitian, Danielle, on our team. We have Kisa, our emotional eating mindset specialist. We have a vegan chef, Pip, on our team. We have a tremendous community. So again, we are all here to help you guys understand what is best for you and your body. And I hope by the end of tonight's talk, you'll have a better understanding of whether or not you should be running for you and your goals. Okay, so I know my writing is a little small. You guys see my little sign, aim to live, not to exist. That's like my life mantra. Some of you guys know that. Let me zoom in here a little bit now so you can see my camera. Okay, well, I'm going to be reading off of this, and then I will go ahead and post my little graph, and yeah, then we'll go ahead and you can ask questions if you have them. I'm here to answer anything you need, but let's jump right into this, guys. So the good, first of all, about running is, of course, just like any type of cardio, whether you're biking, walking, you are on the Stairmaster, you're on the elliptical, whatever it is you're doing, you're going to boost your cardiovascular endurance. You're going to increase your cardiovascular endurance. And it's very important that we have a healthy heart, right? So if you're going to run for any reason, just know, like, of course, like, it's good for your heart health, right? And I always say in CNW, health first, weight loss second, both with strategy. So of course, running can be part of just a healthy lifestyle. It does not have to be for weight loss. Like when I was a runner, I wasn't doing it for weight loss. I did it because I truly enjoyed it. But yeah, so that's one of the benefits. And of course, like, according to the American Heart Association, you should be doing some cardiovascular exercise for at least, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That's like the bare minimum just to be healthy. So that's another reason that we should be doing some cardiovascular exercise. I'm not saying it has to be running, but running falls in that category. Okay, the second thing I like about running, and I think a lot of other people do, it's like a free form of cardio. Okay, you don't have to get a gym membership. You don't have to buy a bike or an elliptical or a Peloton or whatever is out there. Like, and you can just do it anywhere, right? It's free and you can do it anywhere. It's like a super convenient form of cardio, right? Something else I should have written on here is that it could be like a social event. You can get a few of your friends, like sometimes a couple of my girlfriends here in Florida, like we'll go for a run together. So it can be social. Some people are in running groups. Comment in the chat here. Well, first of all, if you're watching me live, say what's up. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. If you run with a group, or you have a social club, or you guys go running, whatever it is, I feel like running can, be very social as well, which is super fun. And also, since it can be a group event, all fitness levels, it doesn't matter if you're just starting out with fitness or if you're super advanced, like anyone can at some point run. Okay, I know if like you're an uber beginner, there are programs out there like Couch to 5K, for example, where you can literally go from nothing to running a 5K. But also remember, like, you don't have to run a 5K to be a runner. You could be a runner and just go a mile or two, a few days a week, right? I think like some people tell me like, well, I'm not a runner. Like, I'm never going to be a runner. I'm like, well, what does that term mean to you? Oh, like someone that runs like tons of miles and runs every day and they love it so much, like they can just go for hours. And like, yes, that is a runner. Like, that's like a quintessential runner, like the peak example of one. But it doesn't mean that you can't run for a shorter distance in less time. Right. So, I mean, yes, I used to be a runner. I was someone that I was a competitive runner. I was in running clubs. I'd run with friends. I did all kinds of races. And then, that was when I was living in DC, when I was in college, a little bit post-college. And then I actually moved to Florida and I started running less. And I just got into different types of training. A lot of you guys know I'm way more into weight training now. I do love my yoga as well. But again, like I wouldn't classify myself as a runner. Hey there, Shar. Okay, I'm not sure I could run a mile. No, okay, I'm gonna get into that, Shar, in a second. I'm so glad you're here. Good to see you. So I don't want you to think that in order to run, you've got to run like a lot. Okay, you could even just like walk, jog. Anyone here do that? Like walk, jog, walk, jog. That is a great form of cardiovascular exercise. And I will be very honest with you. If you ever saw me running around my neighborhood or like wherever, that's mainly what I do now. I'll run, walk. Just because I don't know, that I enjoy that more. And that's just that's how I've evolved. And I always want to share this with you guys, and I say this to all my clients too, like fitness has seasons. Right? You're going to have seasons where you're super motivated, you're pushing yourself to the max. And then there's some seasons where you're just like, yeah, I'm just going to move my body. I'm just going to like do what I can and then be done with it. I'm just going to do this exercise for my mental health, release some stress, feel good. Like, I'm not going to go pedal to the metal. And then there are some days and some seasons where you're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go at it. Yeah, Shar, seasons, totally. So I'll give you an example, and Shar can relate to this. I'm actually heading out to Colorado this Friday. And when I'm in Colorado, it's like in the summer especially, it's like hiking season, right? So I am just really doing much more cardiovascular work when I'm out in Colorado than weight training work. Although I am weight training, I do my online classes 3 days a week. So I still stick with that routine. I will probably hit the gym for heavier weights 1 day a week. So I'm still doing the weights, but again, I'm not going as heavy. My training's a lot different. I'm doing like longer bouts of cardio. And so a little bit more, we call this like steady state cardio. So again, like I'm not running really when I'm out there, whereas here in Florida, I might run now and then, but I feel like fitness can change and evolve. And that's what keeps it, fun and exciting, and you don't hit plateaus, right? So it's crazy. I mean, realistically, I probably work out harder when I'm here in Florida. I attend, a couple of classes at my gym here, Pure Life Del Rey, with my girlfriends. I do those like twice a week, and those are intense workouts. Actually, probably 3 days a week realistically. I teach my own classes 3 days a week. But then when I'm in Colorado, I don't do any of the classes at all. So again, it's like it changes. So I don't want to get off topic here, sorry. But what I like about running is like it doesn't matter who you are, how old you are. You could always walk, jog. You can just lightly jog. Again, you don't have to be pedal to the metal at all. I'm not a fast runner anymore by any means. And guys, like I used to be incredibly fast, in terms of like half marathons. I was training for the Marine Corps marathon. I got very injured, which I'll go into my next topic here soon. And I couldn't run for a while, and that really hurt me. But again, like anyone can run if you want to. Okay. Now, some people have limitations, and I'll get into that next. But before I get into that, the last piece I will say, the good about running is absolutely it can burn fat and it can burn a lot of calories. And I think that's probably the biggest question that I get is like, well, is running the best form of cardio? Is it going to burn the most calories? Well, what burns the most calories is what you can do the longest, number one. And number two was what you're not going to get hurt doing. right? So the two most, and this is fact, you guys, the two most effective workout cardio machines for burning calories, like, per minute, would be the Stairmaster and the rowing machine. So the treadmill's not even on there. And I remember when I learned that, I was like, well, the Stairmaster I totally get because that thing like kicks my ass. And the rowing machine, that's tough too if you do it right. Right? I love the rowing machine. I would say those two pieces of equipment are my two top favorites actually. Not even because they burn the most calories, but and I have a treadmill in my garage actually, but those two are my favorite. So again, yes, running can burn fat, can burn calories. But here's something you need to understand. So, for example, if you're going to be going on a long distance run, yeah, you're going to burn more fat realistically and you're going to burn more calories, but you're also doing some other not so great things to your body. And that's what I'll get into next. But then, if we talk about like high intensity training, so for example, you're doing like HIIT workouts or sprint intervals where you're sprinting for 30 seconds and then jogging for 30 seconds, walking for 30 seconds, repeating that over and over again. I used to teach treadmill workouts at my gym here in Delray. Some of you guys in the group here might remember those. I taught like 30 and 45-minute treadmill workouts. I know Equinoxes across the country offer those classes as well. I know Peloton has those now on their treadmills. And I know I have a Nordic Track in my garage. They have those treadmill classes. So again, when you have those like interval training workouts, yeah, you're going to burn, more calories in a shorter amount of time. But what's happening, in order to get into the fat burning mode, you need to be doing cardio for a sustainable amount of time. So you're really not going to be in the fat burning mode until you're about at least 40 minutes in. So that's the difference between like high intensity cardio and something called steady state cardio. So that's why sometimes you'll hear like bikini competitors or bodybuilders, they're all about like steady state cardio because that keeps them in the fat burning zone. And that's something that they could sustain for a long period of time. So their heart rate's actually going to be at a lower rate. Whereas you were doing sprints, like I said, I was a sprinter earlier. So I remember one of my workouts would be like 10 400s, and we would just go, 90 seconds, 2-minute 400s. We take a break, do it again. Like I was spent, right? And yeah, like I burned a lot of calories, and those kind of workouts, the EPOC is really high. The excessive post oxygen consumption is going to be high. So what I burn after, just like weight training, what you burn after weight training is going to be higher than what you burn during your workout. Bye, Shar. Good to see you. Oh, good, Shar. I appreciate that. I will hopefully do that in Colorado when you go too. Okay. So yes, running can absolutely burn fat and calories. That's definitely happening. Now let's talk about some of the consequences of running. So this is something I especially want to share with my men and women who want to build their glutes. They want to build their legs. Because those of you who've worked out with me, I love building booties. Booty and back is actually tomorrow in my workout program. And booties are my absolute favorite, right? But how many of you have ever seen like a long distance runner, someone that like runs a ton with like a nice firm booty? And I'm not saying they don't exist. Comment in the chat if you're an exception. Right? But like typically long distance runners, if that's like their sport, they don't have like that nice firmer booty. Now sprinters on the other hand, absolutely do, right? Because they're doing those shorter types of workouts. So long distance running is something that's going to break down a lot of muscle. So I always tell women, you want to build your booty, we're not doing tons of long distance running, but sprint workouts, shorter intervals, that can be muscle sparing. Okay, so you're not going to be breaking down the muscle, you're sparing it. Okay, so that can be better. So yes, if you are trying to build lean muscle mass, hypertrophy is your goal, right? That's building lean muscle mass. Doing shorter sprint interval workouts will be more conducive to your goals than lots of long distance running. But if your number one goal is to lose a bunch of weight, for example, you want to lean out, right? Like long distance running, you will burn more calories overall. Okay. Now, am I saying that that's what you should go do? No, but I'm saying like that might serve you for your weight loss goal, right? More than doing short intervals. But again, like you got to do it for a long period of time. The benefit of doing sprint interval workouts is you're going to be like challenging yourself, and you could do a shorter workout and get the same caloric effect as like a longer distance workout. Okay, so sprint workouts are great if you're short on time, right? If you have the time and the energy, long distance, that can be your thing too. And here's the thing, guys, like I used to love long distance running. I did. I wouldn't mind going for 10-mile runs on Saturdays. I was talking to one of our clients, Tree. She's actually training for the Chicago Marathon. Very excited for her. And, she's doing her long runs on Saturday now. So we were talking about like how she can have a balanced routine between strength training and her running schedule, so that she could see the change in her body that she wants, because she knows that she wants to build lean muscle mass. She doesn't want to only run because she knows for her weight loss goal and for her overall health goals and to be a more efficient, effective runner, that she needs to be strength training. So we just talked about having a balanced routine for that the other day. Okay, so I will say, like, too much running is going to break down, the muscles, especially in your lower half. Okay, and then also if you are strength training for gains, like if you want to build a booty, you want to build your legs, like you're gonna be sore, for example. You're not gonna be able to lift as heavy. You're not gonna be able to really give your workouts your all if you are focusing on running long distance. And I was the perfect example. So I was the girl. First of all, I was a cardio queen. I love to run all the time. This is when I was living in DC, actually, and I love to run and I love to heavyweight train. So this was like cool in the sense that I'm so into fitness, and this is actually what motivated me to become a trainer. So I was really into fitness in terms of weight training, heavy. I was always that girl in the Gold's Gym in Ballston, Virginia, which is in Arlington, Virginia. I was in the downstairs, those of you who live in Virginia, you might know this, where all the dudes were, and I would be weight training. That was like my jam. And then I'd be out running all around Georgetown and Arlington, and that was my thing. But here's the problem. I was severely overtraining. Okay. I was always sore. I could not give my workouts my best. I didn't believe in rest days. And then I got really injured. And this is why I was unable to do the Marine Corps Marathon. I got halfway through my training and I had to drop out. I was running for a charity. I got picked to run. I was super excited. I was going to raise all this money, and then I had to back out because I was injured, because I was overtraining. So this is what happens. This is the truth. This is the bad and the truth, really, when we have conflicting goals. Okay, it's either you're going to be like a competitive long distance runner, or you're going to be like a weight trainer. You don't want to do both. So it's really important that when you're deciding if you want running to be part of your life, you have to think of what your goals are, right? And then what is the appropriate amount of running for you, right? That's the most important thing to think about. So for me, I realized and that's what happened, in the last few years. I was like, I really want to focus on just like being strong, and I want to be fit. I don't really want to run long distance anymore. Those days are over. I want to focus more on the weights. That's what I've been doing. And I want to focus more on mobility and flexibility. So I've been doing more yoga. So again, this is what I could absolutely sit down with you and talk to you about in terms of your goals, your schedule, and your vision for yourself, and what the best routine would be for you. This is what I do in CMW for our clients. This is my area of expertise. Every person's different. It's also important that we consider what you like to do. I never want to tell someone don't run when they love running. And that was the first thing I told Treese when she joined CMW, was that I know you love running and you're training for a marathon, but I know you want to tone up as well. And I know you want to get strong. So I want to make sure that you're working out in a way that serves you and your goals, and you don't overtrain. Right? Because I've been there. I've had every injury in the book. I've had ankle issues. I've had knee issues. I haven't had any hip issues yet, knock on wood, because yes, too much running can absolutely cause issues in your joints. And this is one of the consequences of running. Okay, is that it's really hard on your joints, especially if you're a road runner, especially if you're not changing your shoes out consistently. I highly recommend, I learned this the hard way, y'all. I highly recommend, if you're an active runner, change those shoes out every 3 to 4 months. All right, that might sound like a lot. You might be thinking, oh my God, I've had my shoes for 2 years. Change those things out. Your feet need to be your number one priority. If you've heard me talk before, I don't like spending money on clothes, right? I spend money on experiences, but also my shoes, right? I invest in my feet because I've had enough injuries to know that we've got to protect those feet. So get yourself a good pair of running shoes. I've done some talks on the best sneakers. They're here in the group. I'm wearing the Ons right now, the X3s I love just because I do weight train and I run a little bit. But if you're an active runner, I can talk more about that another time. But like there's all different shoes on the market. It's just best to find one that fits your foot the best. That's what I recommend. But yeah, like running again can have like really break down your muscles, be a lot on your joints, but just like any other sport. Tennis can be hard on your joints. You know, a lot of people get like tennis elbow and have golf issues from golf. I mean, it happens in any sport, right? But okay, let's get to the truth. This is my favorite part of the talk. The truth about running, okay? The truth is running can absolutely be a great part of any fitness routine, right? So for example, if you are looking to lean out, all right, you definitely can have cardio in your routine like once or twice a week, and it doesn't have to be running. It could be bike riding. It could be, going. It could be whatever you like to do. Okay, it could be a dance class, for example. Anything that you like that's like getting the heart rate up, right? And not necessarily putting a ton of pressure on the muscles because your muscles need recovery. So for example, on Thursdays in my training program, we weight train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursdays is a cardio day because we've been working out those muscles earlier in the week. And we have a little bit of cardio like in our classes, but again, like Thursday is a rest day for some people. They feel like their body needs a rest. And sometimes I take a rest day. And then some days I do a cardio. Like I'll go for I'll go on a bike ride, or I do a cardio class here at my gym, or I'll go for a run. But again, just like kind of shaking things out, breaking up the lactic acid in the body that happens from a few days of weight training, right? So it absolutely can be part of any exercise regimen. And remember, you don't have to be running miles and miles to be a runner. Sometimes I'll just go for a run around the block and that takes me 10 minutes. Does that make me a runner? I think so. All right. I just like to break a sweat sometimes, even when I'm in Colorado, I'm hiking most of the time. Sometimes I'll go for like a 10-minute run. It feels good. All right. This is the big thing. This is mindset. And as much as I love to talk about science or nutrition and fitness and CMW, mindset's my favorite topic of conversation, especially if you're looking for motivation. Okay. Comment below if you're looking for motivation to not just run, just to exercise in general. Who here is looking for motivation to exercise? I'd love to help you right now. Okay. So here's the ticket. It's how you look at running or how you look at said workout. So for example, I want you to start looking at running not as a means to an end, not like I have to run to lose weight or I have to run to get lean, whatever the end goal is, right? I want you to look at running as a hobby or a sport. And honestly, like that's what motivated me to run. I was a competitive runner. Like I loved doing races. My friends and I like to run together. Sometimes like I have a couple girlfriends here in Florida, like we'll go like run by the beach. That's my motivation. It's a hobby. Right? It's instead of going to happy hour, we'll go for a run, we'll go for a walk. Find friends that'll do that with you. Right? Be picky with your surroundings. Engage with people that are like-minded and engage with people who will raise your vibration. Very important. Okay. The weight loss journey is not just about what you're eating and how you're moving, it's about how you're thinking. And the people around you, whether you like it or not, can impact the way you think. So I encourage you to become judicious of your community. Right? And that's why I love this community so much, right? And, my girlfriends and I, though, we go to the gym together a couple days a week. We look at fitness as fun. It's like our social time. It's a hobby, right? All right. And then this is the last part. You do not, mark my words, I am a PT, I'm a sports nutritionist, I've been doing this for a very long time. You do not have to run to lose weight, right? I have worked in gyms with bikini competitors, okay? And they lean out, they get on stage. I've seen enough of them get on there without running. Yvonne, you're in the group. Wait, did you do, I don't remember you running at all to get on stage. No. I had my friend, Christy was her name. She used to go to my gym, actually two of my gyms here in Florida. And she was like super lean, and she was actually a physical therapist, and she would not run. And I remember we would take classes together, or she would actually take some of my classes, and we would go take classes together. I used to teach fitness classes too, and she would never get on the treadmill. And she was like, "You want to know what that treadmill does to your joints? Like my hips, I don't want to do it." So she would do the bike, she would do the Stairmaster, she would do anything else but get on the treadmill or run. So many people don't run, and they look really lean. All right. So I never want you to feel forced to run. Like, so many people I'll get on a consult call with, like, they're like, "I'm open to like any form of fitness, Kristen, but like I'm not running." And I'm always like, "Okay, cool. Like, you don't have to run. That's totally fine." So I don't want you to feel forced into something. Okay. I truly believe in fitness freedom. I always advocate for people doing what they enjoy, because that's something they're going to do consistently. And what we do consistently is who we will become. Okay. You don't have to become a runner to be lean, but can running be part of a healthy routine? Absolutely. As long as you enjoy it. If it stresses you out, if it's painful, I mean, I'll give you an example. And I have some friends, Camille actually in the group can attest to this. I would like limp around Washington D.C. in Virginia. I was one of those girls where like I didn't want to take a rest day. I would run through injury. I had plantar fasciitis, which comment below if you've had plantar fasciitis before. So I had plantar fasciitis, and I would just keep running. I didn't care, and then it turned into a heel spur, and that was terrible. I went to the podiatrist. He gave me a boot to sleep in at nighttime. It was so painful. He was like, "If you don't stop running, I'm gonna make you wear a boot all 24/7, not even just nighttime." And I was like, "All right." So that's when I had to stop running. It was really, really upsetting, because running's mental. It really is, right? Like, if you're a runner, it's just like a relief. If you can't run, you get all crazy. And that was, I totally understand. But I also want you to understand that you don't have to be a crazy runner to be successful. Because I'll tell you what, like, I was a runner, but I had a really poor relationship with food. I used to think I could outrun a bad diet. I had a terrible sugar addiction. I lived off of gummy bears, Monster Trail Mix, peanut butter, and cookie dough throughout a lot of my 20s. But if you saw pictures of me, you would never know it, because I was just like, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna go work out like 2 hours a day, and I can just eat whatever I want." And I was eating like chicken and broccoli or binging on cookie dough. There was really no middle ground. And I realized that that was not a way to live. That's not sustainable. Yeah, it's fine and dandy in your 20s, right? But then you get into your 30s and you're like, "Oh God, this is not normal," right? And then you like start dating, and like maybe you get married, and like your partner's like, "Wait, what? Is this how you eat?" Like, no. And then you gotta like face real life. All right. So that's kind of where I was. I was a severe emotional eater. And I used to run just to shake out the sugar, and just so I could eat more sugar. In my head, I justified running so I could eat more. Terrible foods. Not a good way to live. And that's why Create My Weight was born, because I know I am not the only one that struggles with sugar, that has this black and white thinking with food, this all or nothing mentality, that looks at food as good and bad, that feels guilty for eating certain foods. Like, if I ate too much pizza, or if I ate too many cookies or whatever, I would feel guilty, and I would go run like a bunch. It was awful. And then I was I literally ran myself into the ground. I still to this day have a limp when I run, because of all the things I did in my past. So whenever I have clients that get injured somehow, I'm like, take your time recovering, especially in the lower extremities. There is so little blood flow in your ankles, your knees, your feet, your toes. Do not rush that recovery. Whatever your doctor tells you to do it. Don't mess it up. You can always get back to your workouts. All right. And actually, in the CMW private community the other day, I talked about the top 4 focuses for weight loss. Okay, fitness is at the very bottom. Very bottom. Comment below if you want me to share those top 4 focuses for weight loss. I can do that in another talk. I shared it with the private community. If you're a CMW client or alum that's a fitness subscriber, go watch that video from Monday. I just gave the truth. You guys know that. I don't lie to you. I have no self-interest here. I want you guys to get results. That's all I care about. Okay? But yeah, if you have more questions about running, if you want more advice about your fitness routine, you want to talk to me about your goals, you just want to make sure you're doing things, properly, or you want some support, like, hey, like I really want to lean out my body, I want to build some muscle, but like I feel like I'm not doing the right stuff, I need some help with my workouts. However I could serve you, I'm going to drop my link below to schedule a call with me. I do complimentary consults. Happy to help. Again, this is my business. This is something I'm very passionate about. I don't want people to overtrain or spend years and years doing workouts that don't serve them and not getting any results. Okay, so let me save you some time, some energy, and some frustration, and I'll see if I can help you. All right, I'll drop my link below, but it's pretty easy. createmoweight.com/apply. All right. Have an awesome Tuesday. Happy early Memorial Day weekend. I'll pop in the group later next week sometime with a new topic. All right, but I hope you guys learned tonight the good, the bad, and the truth about running. All right, have a good night. Bye.